it's DM Zoth. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you know when we upload new videos.
So I actually had to watch some other reviews to kind of figure out what this thing was.
What do you mean?
Well, it's not like your traditional tabletop role-playing game. In fact, it's not even touted as a role-playing game. It's more of a world.
Alright, I still don't get it.
Okay, on the website, Hallow-Press.net, you can get Vermis I, which is what this book is. Lost Dungeons and Forbidden Woods. And this is what they say on their website. Vermis I is the first of an art book series by the artist Plastiboo, a pure act of world building inspired by old dungeon crawler games. It could be considered an official guide of a game that doesn't exist, since it's not a game at all.
I still don't get it. Is there any rules or anything?
Actually, no, there's no rules in here. It's kind of a cerebral look at a game that never existed. And then on the inside, as I've read through it, it's kind of something that dungeon masters, game masters can use to actually inform their world. Or actually, you could even play through it.
Alright, I am still lost here. Why don't we go ahead and open it up and take a look?
Alright, so this has that awesome sort of, I would say, 16 or 32-bit sort of art. When we open it up, and I'm trying not to fold it over too much. I like to take care of my books really well. And it says here, a corpse kneels beside a well. Mesmerized by the reflection of its living flesh, it wonders what could have been done and could have been. And for as long as the moon shines, the feeble illusion will prevail.
Alright, that's pretty dark.
Yes, it is. Then, here it says here, a light sparks in the dark. Which flesh is your flesh?
I'm kind of getting some goose pimples here.
And then the kinds of flesh, either the good, the evil.
Wait a second, is this a game? Where's the rules?
When you look at the front, even by Plastiboo here, kind of has that Nintendo logo vibe.
Okay, yeah. So we're talking about video games?
Well, it's a video game that never existed.
Okay, so why are we reviewing this book?
Well, because it's a book that you can use within your own role-playing game worlds, or use this world to basically play your game.
Okay, I kind of get it. Kind of like if you were going to play Final Fantasy using D&D.
Yeah, you could actually do that as well. But this has a really dark, just, I can't explain it. It's a very dark, depressing vibe that kind of shrouds you in a beautiful cloak of darkness.
All right, that sounds like my kind of setting.
So it talks about the good, the evil. Beware of the states that can permanently damage your flesh and mind. Infection, dread, slumber, petrification, curse, insanity, blindness, possession, white hives. And then these are kind of like the characters you can play. Like if you were to open up a screen for a game, that these would be like the characters you could choose from, like maybe in Smash Brothers or something. But it's not a fighting game like that. It is a role-playing game sort of vibe. So, the Mad Pricker, their origins are yet unknown. Some say they're some kind of cult. Others say they're mindless minions to an evil god. Armor, full of deadly infected spikes. Their handcuffs don't allow them to hold any weapons.
I really dig this vibe, man.
Yeah, it's got kind of, if you mashed Dark Souls and Murkborg together, then yeah, there's a game waiting here for you. Let's look at another one down here. Stone Scholar. Faces compressed against the stones tied to their heads, in constant pain, but that sacrifice grants them infinite wisdom. Experts on mud sorcery, wicked smart, and fragile body.
Wow. This is friggin' awesome.
Yeah, and here's a few other ones. A rat man. You can become a rat man. This is what it says.
Nice.
The prophet, cursed fool, so on and so forth. And it's almost like that's your load screen. You're picking your character, and then you're moving on. And then this, as you pick your character, you can see exactly what's going on with who they are. Let's go. Since we already talked about the Stone Scholar, let's see what it says. A Stone Scholar is condemned to a miserable, pitiful life, unable to see or smell due to the scars from the rocks that were tied to their faces for ages. Stripped of their knowledge and powers, they crawl in search of the enlightenment they lost.
Wow. Okay. I think I'm starting to get it. Keep going.
So they start off with a stone staff, a staff made of tiny merged rocks used to help scholars walk and cast spells. Then they have a stone bone, shaped like a vertebrae. This stone is inserted inside their backs as a sign of devotion. And then it shows their relative 4 abilities: strength, intelligence, faith, will.
Is there dice associated with this or anything like that?
No, because it's like kind of supposed to be a video game, a guidebook to a video game. It just gives you generalized sort of stats. So we've got strength, intelligence, faith, and will. And so this character's not strong at all. Has a 5 intelligence, like if you take each one of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a 5 intelligence, which is the highest, a 5 faith, and a 4 will.
Very cool.
Let's pick another one here. Let's do this one, the Wandering Angel. Once they reach the peak of the sacred mountain, they will pull the halo and their decapitated heads will fall off the cliff. A pile of helmets full of rotten flesh lies on the other side of the mountain. Gylak's servants are in charge of gathering all the equipment from the bodies and bring it back to the temple. Gylak's statue is one of the things that you start with as equipment. Gylak is often represented as a coiled snake with a woman's head. Then there's a snake fang. The angels pierce themselves with the fang to release a poison that makes them go berserk.
So it's like a barbarian sort of character. Very cool.
Yeah, and you can see that they've got a 4 strength, 1 intelligence, a 5 faith, and a 1 will.
Wow, I am really digging this so far.
So there's other classes and whatnot that you can go through. Here are the known gods: Gylak, the Cursed, Dorvus, the Truth, Murgo, the Relentless, Gervek, the Great, Marco, the Oracle, and Gutereth, the Wrath. And these are the gods that have created the world, whatever it's called. And maybe the world is actually called Vermis. I'm not sure. That's the thing, is that there's so much unanswered here that you can go just about anywhere with it.
I like that. So the Dungeon Master or Game Master is the one that is going to fill in all the blanks as players ask questions.
Well, if you're playing it that way, you could just read through this and take it for what it is. Or from my perspective, use this as a book for one-shots or as creating a whole campaign for either a single player or multiple players. You could even do this solo.
Hell yeah, this is awesome.
So it talks about Greengrave here, the dead man's garden, the capital's outskirts, Greengrave. Also called the Dead Man's Garden, the remains of Gervek the Great have grown alongside the mountains and now remain as one of the relics of the old world. It's considered sacred terrain by many. It is said that those who live in Greengrave live longer due to the relic's influence. Down here it says, the capital is consumed by chaos. In a constant war headed by fools and liars blinded by the shining of their own crowns, faith, blood, gold, each one thinks their cause is rightful. They think each sacrifice brings them closer to the death of their enemies. However far your journey is from the rage of those with power, it begins in the depths of Greengrave's forest. So this is the starting point of everything. So you can take something like this and use it as a setting. And you've got a name. You've got like this necropolis sort of rolling hills, and you could explain this to your players and bring them into this setting.
Yeah, man. Cool.
More awesome art. And again, this is an art book, much like how I would consider Murkborg. But an art book with video game inspiration, that 8-bit look, but you can definitely use this for your tabletop role-playing games. Then it talks about the first steps and the path to the graveyard. You want to read this?
Sure. Isolated crypt. Once you wake up, you find yourself in a small crypt in the middle of the forest. It's cold and damp, but feels somehow comfortable. Ha ha ha. Hell yeah.
Let's flip over. And here's the graveyard. And then speckled about with some microfiction. Go ahead and read this.
All right. House of Gray, House of Cold, House of 1,000 Doors, House of Many, House of None, House of Those No Longer Home. E.R.
You might encounter the following monstrosities, and these are all like graveyard sort of monsters that you would encounter. Crazy Bones, Mad Bones, Talking Skull, Insane Bones, Witch Head, Shadow Figure, Bone Keeper, Ghost Mother with Newborn, Mudman, Bone Snake, Living Grave, Lonely Night. And here's a picture of the Witch Head and somebody fighting it.
Awesome. All right, I think I'm starting to understand.
So, and even within one of these crypts, it talks about the Whistling Death, which is a sword that you can get from one of these tombs. And it has just enough text for you as a dungeon master to go off of and kind of bring your player or players through this dark and decrepit world. Someone that you encounter, the Lonely Knight, has even some dialogue that they might say so that you can get a feel for who they are, equipment that they have. This is the Merciless Warrior helmet, a severed finger, and the mace. So going through this, and I'm not going to go like crazy in depth, but you get this idea. It's almost like it's either a 2-page spread like... For instance, the graveyard has a 2-page spread. Sometimes they're longer, I suppose. Like the graveyard here, Green Grave, 1-2 pages, 3, 4, 5, 6. The person that you meet there, 7, 8. Everything's like still, even though they're going over multiple spreads, it's still a 2-page spread that you need. You're not looking at this sort of thing like 2 pages away. It's what you need is within your 2-page spreads. There's a casket's back door, and then the pauper's catacombs, and really it's very linear.
So you could definitely just go through this book as a guide for a game that you're playing for a player or a bunch of players.
And use any rule set that you deem necessary. You could do something that's like a lot of games that are out there. As I was thinking about this, it's like, let's say you need a 6 on a 6-sided die. Here's some quick rules. If you have a 1 in strength, you would need a 6, and you didn't make it there. But if you had a 5, you could roll 5 like a dice pool, and you just need 1 6 in order to succeed. And that's how you could play this game.
All right, yeah, I'm getting that. Friggin' awesome.
So, not to say that there's any rules like that here. It's easy to come up with some rules that are based upon what is just vaguely given to you here.
Which I think is the beauty of it all, is that there's so much unexplained that you can fill in the blanks and make it what you want.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to flip through. Here's, talks about skeletal statues and how they look at you. And there's a map right here of that whole underground area. A frightened frog knight and the encounters and dialogue. And this guy has the Ring of 1,000 Eyes. It says, allows the bearer of the ring to see those who are no longer among the living, but also to be seen by them. So, ghosts and whatnot. Oh, just, this has such a dark, wonderful cloak of comfort to me.
Yeah, me too, man. This is friggin' metal as hell.
Yeah, I think even Mjörkborg, it talks about, let me grab it right here. It talks about it being a doom metal album of a game. A spike flail to the face, rules light, heavy everything else. And that's Mjörkborg. And when I read through Mjörkborg and went through the pages of this, I really got more of a black metal thing going on. To me, Vermis is doom metal. To me, there's a difference between Gorgoroth and a band like Electric Wizard. And there's a difference between a band like Burzum and a band like Conan, at least to me. So, anyways, just flipping through this, amazing things, and basically it just sets up different encounters, different locations, different things that are going on in this world. And because it doesn't say what the world is, I'm assuming, again, that it is the world Vermis.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for sure.
So it talks about the Phantom Parade here and all these different things. And what's cool is that oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, it's like these are things that you can encounter. And you can see that it's 4, 8, 12. So if you're doing a random encounter, you could do a random, here's a number 9. So 4, 8, here's 9. The man of pain, screaming and shaking his head violently while the rest of his body is frozen. There's a crazy encounter right there. And it's kind of built in intuitively without having to explain things, which I think is ridiculously genius.
It is amazingly genius. In fact, now that you've explained it that way.
Smoke and shadows, so on and so forth. The Lost Paladin, the encounter with this guy, etc., etc. If nothing else, go and support this. There's a link in the description. It's not an affiliate link. It comes from hollowpress.net. It's hollow-press.net. And get in here and read through this. And you will be taken to a land that is beautiful and dark and rich without being overwhelming. It's amazing.
Yeah, as you're flipping through there, I see there's a map right there, the Green Sun Ruins, a dying knight is right there, and an encounter with him, so on and so forth.
The Beast's Nest, man, it's just, I don't know. This is on another level. It's like the more that the OSR, and maybe this isn't technically part of the OSR, but man, it should be adopted. And in fact, we should start making game books like this. Just friggin' awesome. Amazing. I don't know what else to say. This is just friggin' cool. The false witch near the bridge, the encounter, the dialogue, so on and so forth. Uncrossable Path. Just a beautiful book, if nothing else. They've said that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And I think that a picture could be worth at least 10 adventures, if not 1,000. And if you get a little dialogue like this book has with a picture, then you could have an infinite number of encounters with different things within a world.
The Bearer of the Axe. Man, I really dig this art.
Me too. I didn't think that I would ever just look at, again, it's like 16 or 32-bit sort of art, maybe even 64-bit art. But, yeah, it is beautiful. It has such a wonderful dark vibe. Just right up my alley. I am on this path of Vermis for sure. So it talks about it's hollowpress.net. Go there. This is the 5th printing, June 2023.
Yeah, you had gotten this earlier this year, haven't you?
Yeah, and then a friend, the same friend that gifted me this one, also gifted me Vermis II. So I will be reviewing this one and at least flipping through it next week. And just my thumb through of it so far, oh my gosh, it just takes it to on another amazing place and just the twists and turns that are about it. So come back next week to take a look at Vermis II.
All right, everyone, that's it. Vermis, taking a quick look at it. You should go pick it up. There's a link in the description. It is not an affiliate. This is not a paid sponsorship or anything like that. Just go and pick it up because it's friggin' cool.
All right, everyone. Thanks for stopping by Agranak Studios, and we'll see you on the next one.
Later.
This video is brought to you by the generous support of our patrons. Consider becoming a patron. There's a link down in the dungeon. Down there. Also, we have links to other places that Agranak Studios is at.
All right, do this and do that and do this and do that. And watch this video.